You know, as I started taking this CNC machine apart, I started thinking to myself, maybe I should have documented it, taken it apart, what it looks like for prosperity, for someone that might be coming down the same path as me. Now, this frame here is aluminum, and this is trim channel, 3/4 inch trim channel. And the secret of this is it's 1 inch, but the spacing allows you to put a stepper motor. Now, the stepper motor has to have nuts underneath it to stand off the lip. The stepper motor has a lip on it. Let's get the wait. There's a lip here. So what I did, rather than grind the lip off or cut a big hole, I just put a nut under each bolt. Okay. Now, this is, like I said, 3/4 inch trim channel. And the secret to making a good sturdy axis is these little pieces of trim channel in here. They're just about a 3/4 inch piece. Okay. And that gets bolted in there. I don't know if you can see all these bolts, but this is very sturdy. Okay. Even though it's trim channel. Now, I told you that the axis rides on this lip. And you saw the Delrin on the last video, the Delrin V-slides, as I call them. Now, the other thing I did was to hook the motor to the drive shaft, or the lead screw. I used, this is automotive tubing. It's vacuum tubing for automobile. But you got to make sure you get the right size. Now, this stuff, once you put it on, it gets stiffer as it's on there. I know it seems impossible, but it does. And you should have seen how hard it was getting this apart. Now, what I do sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I just slit it and pull it off, okay? Now, the next thing is the drive nut. There's a piece of Delrin. Now, the Delrin should be twice as thick as the lead screw. And when you tap a hole through it, you drill a hole through it with a drill press, and you put the tap in the drill press. You unplug the drill press, and then you slowly lower the tap down and turn it by hand. And that's how you get a perfectly straight through. Now, if you look at this, you can see this lead screw is going exactly straight through. Exactly straight through. And there is a little bit of play this way. We're up and down, right to left, but there is no play in and out. And that's because there's so many threads of Delrin that are actually touching the lead screw. All right, I think I covered that. You have to do some experimenting, but that's how, and these are adjustable. Everything's adjustable. So after you get the machine together, you slowly dial it all in. All right, now we go to the opposite end here. I just put this back together real quick. Normally this doesn't stick out this far. Now, this is 1/4 threaded rod. All right, my trademark. Okay, one of the things I use on all my machines. Because it's cheap, it's extremely accurate, and yet it's not accurate. I saw one rod was off by 3 thousandths. Yeah, go away. In order to make this fit, there's a little tiny piece of ice maker tubing. Okay, and it's got a slit in it, and that makes up the difference. So this will fit tight. And after you get the threaded rod in there, in the machine and lined up, then you tighten the outer nut. You might have to get a vice grips back behind here, this type, or whatever your favorite tool is. But I just wanted to show you that. And now this here is a roller blade bearing. Okay. This is a regular washer has 4 holes drilled in it. Now, when you loosen these 4 bolts up, you can move this bearing back and forth a little bit. See, this is what I put in my designs. I make it adjustable, so you can dial a machine in and make it extremely accurate. My competitors were just copying and screwing stuff up. There's no way to compete with that, because people buy the set of plans, most of them, because it's a dream to build the machine. They don't actually build the machine. My goal was to get a machine in the hands of every person that wanted one, so they could learn the G code. They could learn how to draw in CAD. But most people don't finish the machine because it's probably as much of a hobby as building your own aircraft and getting your license and flying. Okay, it's that difficult. It might even be more difficult. Okay, depending on because I know some people that aren't that bright actually do get a pilot's license. So, but actually design a machine, do all the drawings, and sell the plans to people. All right, you got to do that. And I had people, oh, this website's like it's from 1970. All these comments. I didn't have time to do what everybody wanted me to do. I was one person. Oh, you should hire more people. Well, I tried getting help from one guy. He didn't know anything. See, the people that step up to that stuff are usually nincompoops. That's a German word, nincompoop. Well, anyway, so I had to do everything myself. I had to constantly hope that materials wouldn't be discontinued on me. You know, it was a lot of work. And at one point, I was almost making minimum wage for the amount of hours I was working. But you keep thinking, if you have enough plans, sets of plans in the pipeline, and you keep coming up with more stuff, you should be able to make it. And it didn't work. Okay, it just didn't work. As the competition showed up, and some of the guys did some real devious stuff. You know, buy a set of my plans, redraw it a different way, put it out there for free. Nonsense. The nonsense you go through. And a patent would be impossible. Okay, it was like 15,000 back then. Then you got to that's to have the patent. Then when they encroach on your patent, you have to drag them into court. So you're talking, if it goes well, another $6,000. So you're talking $21,000. All right, and depending on how many people infringe on the patent. And yes, if you win at court, you do get your money back. But your time, again, time is money. But I just wanted to show you this, and I want to tell you about my first COVID shot. I did get it, and my arm hurt. I had COVID arm, as they call it, and I had a little bit of dizziness. I don't think I had chills. I had the verge of chills. Now, the other day, I got my second shot, and the girl at Walmart was very nice, and we got talking. Her mom had just died, and I was telling her certain things with anxiety and that. And the reason was, I said, I'll be fine once you give me the shot. I said, I'm just having anxiety. I don't like to show up late. I don't like to, forget an appointment or any of that. So she gives me my shot. She starts telling me what she's been going through with anxiety and all. So I told her some things. I asked her a few questions. And it's like the girl never relaxes. Okay? She never relaxes. She works, or she works out, or she cleans her house. So I don't know how deep of a problem it has. So you need to put aside a certain amount of time to relax. If you don't do that, you're going to go through this year after year, month after month, day after day, the rest of your life. Some people just can't relax. But so I get my second shot. I come home, and the arm doesn't hurt. The first day after I got the shot, the arm hurt. So I get ready to go to bed, and I feel fine. And as I roll over in bed, I notice the arm's starting to throb. So I lay on my other side. I fall asleep. I wake up, and I think I had the fan running in the window, and I start getting chills. And I get up, and I shut the fan off, and I go over and I look at the thermometer for the room, and it's plenty warm. And then I start shaking. I start getting cold chills and shaking. I'm like, uh-oh. You know how you say, uh-oh. So I put on a sweatshirt, and I laid back in bed, and it's still, the chills were getting worse and worse. So I remember my buddy told me he got chills, and he took two aspirin. So I got up, I took 2 aspirin, laid back in bed, and the chills started subsiding. But I could tell now I'm overheating, but it's all the same thing. So I took the sweatshirt off. I'm laying there. I put the fan back on. It was like I was having a change of life, right? And then I fell asleep again. But every time I fell asleep, I would pick up the same dream. And it was one of them, it was weird. It had to do with mining my way through the ground. They've been doing these, running cables under the ground in my neighborhood. So in my dream, I had to run cables through the ground. And believe it or not, they were actually working. Usually in my dream, nothing works, but it did. And then I'd wake up, and then I go back to sleep and pick the dream right back up. And then another dream was all the different radios I own. I started repairing them, and I'm like, why did they all go bad? And I was just having like these, not I want to say hallucination dreams, but anxiety dreams. And then at some point towards the morning, the chills stopped, and I started feeling better. And then when I was supposed to go to power walk with my buddy, I told him, I said, I'm still feeling a little woozy after the shot. I said, I'm gonna take a day off from power walking. Now today I went to go power walk with him, and he was going out to eat with his brother. So I just went to the dollar store and back. I didn't push it today. But yeah, I won't lie to you. That second shot was a doozy. Now the guy across the street, he got his shots real early because he's a truck driver. He has to go around other people, and he told me he had to take a day off from work. And he said his arm hurt real bad, and he didn't go. Then he didn't go into it any further than that, you know. But I did get my shots, and I just wanted to show you, you know, that's one of my techniques for a drive nut. Okay, and that drive nut needs to be tapped in such a way that the threaded rod goes straight through it on all angles, straight through. It can't be off on an angle. Okay, and even the adjustments I put in. Okay, having the a little bit of play because of this drive tubing. Okay, that allows for a little bit. I'm talking thousandths of an inch. Okay, when your drive nut gets all the way up here, this thing can't be crooked from one end to the other. It'll start to bind. All right, and the same with this. Any imperfection in the holes, the distancing of the holes, or your frame can be nulled out with this captive nut, captive bearing, captive bearing. Okay, but just you know, you guys, you know, some of you might say, well, why don't you put the plans out? No, I did that, done that, 20 years of it. You don't make any money at the end. In other words, the reason I stopped was my printer didn't go bad. Windows 10 wouldn't work with my printer. Now my printer used really large ink reservoirs. All right, the new one for $38 I can print maybe 100 pages, something like that. So in other words, the old printer was a trooper. It was a DeskJet, HP DeskJet. And I have an HP, but it's like a $68 printer, but they get you when they sell you the ink. Okay, but that's what stopped it. I said, you know what? I don't need to do this anymore. And I won't say it's ego involved in the whole thing, but you know, I really thought there were a lot of people like myself that were really into building things and it would help them get started. Those guys were in the beginning. They were all there in the beginning, and we would exchange information. I had an open public group, but believe it or not, the amount of data that was being used in one month was $1,000, and there's no way I'm going to spend $1,000 a month to just make that in sets of plans. Okay, and I had guys setting themselves up in my conference with their redraws of my plans. That's how blatant some people were. Well, I think my idea is better than yours. It's a goddamn set of plans that you drew up. You didn't build the machine yet. Then I have to tell him what he's doing wrong, see? And then he comes up with another. Finally, I said, you know what? Let me make this private. Let me shut this guy down. There were more than one guy. Yeah, it was just totally amazing. Some of the things I tried. Things you thought that would work, that just didn't work. And you're like, why am I having so much trouble? And that's why when I watch Shark Tank, some people come up with some really good ideas. And they're innovative. And the rest of them are just copies of something else. You know, I hate to, you know, put anybody's idea down. And some are like the guy that, I won't even say that. That's mean to say with the guy, his invention. But anyway, it's amazing what I went through. But the COVID, yeah, expect a reaction. The second shot, just expect it, okay? If it doesn't happen, fine. But in other words, I didn't expect it would be that bad. I'm still kind of wore out from it. But I finished it up. I just wanted to show you, you know, some of the innovations that I came up with. You know, like you got to have adjustability everywhere because you'll never make this frame perfect. You'll get it close. And these holes are a little bit bigger, so you can shift this, and you get your right angles. You can get it all. The parallel. These two rails have to be parallel. or you can all do that with that. And there's a bunch of nuts, and you keep adjusting them down, rechecking with your calipers, and it's doable, absolutely doable. But this here bearing just went on the outside like that, and like I said, this, because it's got a lip on it, you have to put nuts under it. I didn't get fancy with spacers. I just used nuts, and you mic the nuts up to make sure they're all the same thickness. I think that's about it. All right, that's it.